Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm super excited you're here because we are diving into something every single homeowner in North Texas needs to know about. It's one of those things we rarely think about until it's absolutely too late. Today, we're zeroing in on the unique and honestly sometimes kind of overwhelming home maintenance challenges specific to Highland Park, Texas. We're going to be pulling some incredible practical insights straight from the local pros at Grand Roofing Dallas. So settle in because we're about to arm you with exactly what you need to protect your biggest investment. So let me ask you something right out of the gate. Is your roof quietly failing right above your head? I know, it's a bit unsettling, right? The scary reality is that most roof damage doesn't announce itself with some massive, catastrophic cave-in. Nah, it's usually this silent, creeping issue. A tiny seal gets compromised, water slowly sneaks in, soaks your insulation, and starts rotting your roof decking. It can cause serious interior damage before you ever even see a single water stain on your living room ceiling. You could literally be harboring hidden damage right now.
Well, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the Highland Park climate. Second, common roof destroyers. Third, breaking down roofing costs. And finally, the replacement process. Starting off with Section 1, the Highland Park climate and the unique threats to historic homes.
Look, if you live around here, you already know the environment is absolutely brutal. The roofing situation in this area is basically a perfect storm. On one hand, we've got the extreme weather. Those summer days regularly pushing past 100 degrees, that bakes your shingles and causes seals to fail. Then, out of nowhere, spring hailstorms come through and just hammer those brittle shingles. Top that off with winter freezes where any trapped moisture expands, and you've got this constant extreme temperature cycling that literally tears materials apart. But it isn't just the weather, is it? It's the local complexities, too. Highland Park is gorgeous, famous for those massive mature oak and pecan canopies. But all those dropped branches and leaves, they trap moisture right in the valleys of your roof. Combine that with the steep pitches of 1920s architecture and the incredibly strict historic building codes, especially if you're over near Armstrong Parkway or the Old Historic District, and suddenly you aren't just slapping some shingles on a house. You're carefully restoring a highly complex, historically significant structure under intense stress. Let's move right into Section 2, common roof destroyers, these silent killers above. So let's do a little diagnostic of what's actually ruining these complex roofs on a daily basis. We can make sense of all this by looking at 4 major culprits. Number 1, for sure, is hail damage, pelting the roof, bruising shingles, and cracking those essential protective granules right off. Number 2 is tree damage and debris. Branches scrape things loose, and soggy leaves just sit there holding moisture against your wood, putting rot on fast forward. Third, we have failed chimney flashing. All that extreme temperature cycling we just talked about, it degrades the metal flashing around your chimney, opening up tiny gaps that let water run straight down the outside of the brick and right into your wall cavities. And fourth, this is actually the one that surprises people the most, is inadequate attic ventilation. Seriously, get a load of this number, 150 degrees. A lot of the older homes in Highland Park were built using methods that just don't allow for enough attic ventilation. So when that intense Texas sun is beating down on your house, the trapped summer heat inside your attic can easily hit 150 degrees. And what does that do? Well, it literally bakes your shingles from the inside out. It's wild. It shaves years off the lifespan of your roof and drives your summer cooling costs straight through the ceiling. Proper airflow isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely vital. The really crucial takeaway here is how drastically different the outcomes can be based on when you take action. Catching a damaged shingle or a tiny gap in the flashing early, that's just a minor leak repair. It literally saves you thousands of dollars because your roof deck underneath is still totally fine. But ignoring it, that's when things go off the rails. If water gets past the underlayment and just sits in your attic, you aren't just buying a new roof anymore. You're suddenly paying for extensive wood rot repair, totally ruined insulation, and trust me, incredibly expensive mold remediation.
Let's look at Section 3, breaking down roofing costs, demystifying the contractor invoice.
Okay, the financial side of roofing can be super confusing. If you've ever glanced at a roofing quote, you've probably seen the term roofing square. Let's translate that. A roofing square is simply a standard industry measurement, and it equals exactly 100 square feet of roof area. Think of a 10 by 10 box. So when a contractor gives you a price per square, they're giving you a bundled price for that specific 100 square foot section. That price bakes in everything, the underlayment, the starter shingles, the ridge caps, and the flashing for that specific area. When you break down where your money is actually going on that invoice, the biggest piece of the pie is skilled labor. And honestly, for good reason. Think about having to safely navigate those steep, tricky pitches on Highland Park homes, all while lugging heavy materials in the blistering Texas heat. That requires some serious, highly trained craftsmanship. It's the priciest part of the job. The rest of the bill mostly comes down to premium materials, because remember, you need stuff that can actually survive this extreme weather. Along with the cost of tearing off and disposing of the old roof, and finally securing the required local permits to satisfy those strict town codes. Now, here's something you might not know. The age of your roof completely dictates your insurance strategy. It's a ticking clock. Right around the 10-year mark, a lot of insurers will start demanding an inspection before they'll even think about renewing your policy. By 15 years, your roof is officially flagged as higher risk for wind and hail claims. And by year 20, you're facing a very real possibility of having coverage flat out denied, your payouts massively reduced, or being forced to fully replace the roof out of pocket just to keep your home insured. So the bottom line is crystal clear. Waiting to fix or replace an aging roof never, ever actually saves you money. It just skyrockets your financial liability. Finally, we're at Section 4, the replacement process, a clear path to security. I know, getting a roof replaced sounds like a scary, massive ordeal, but we can totally distill it down to 3 easy phases. Phase 1 is the inspection and assessment. This is where the techs get up there, take photos of the damage, go over the findings with you honestly, and hand you a detailed written estimate. Phase 2 is the actual professional installation. The crews step in, handle all the pesky permits, strip everything down to the bare decking, fix any rotted wood, and install the brand new system, all while keeping your yard clean every single day. And then Phase 3 is the final inspection and warranty. They make absolutely sure every local code requirement is met and hand over the paperwork that guarantees your home is protected for decades to come. During that installation phase, the materials you choose mean everything. The standard building code, the IRC, requires shingles to be rated for at least 110-mile-per-hour winds. But come on, we're in North Texas. Severe thunderstorms roll through here, throwing straight-line winds well over 70 miles per hour on a regular basis. The bare minimum simply isn't going to cut it. The really top-tier contractors know this, so they bypass those minimums completely and upgrade properties to 130-mile-per-hour wind-rated architectural shingles. Going above and beyond the code gives you that vital extra security, so you can actually sleep when the storm sirens start going off. But hey, what if you are literally in the middle of a roofing crisis right now? I want to reassure you with this specific commitment straight from our source material. Quote, "We dispatch crews to Highland Park addresses fast, often arriving within 60 minutes of your call. If water is actively coming into your house, rapid emergency response is absolutely critical. Professional crews show up carrying the heavy-duty tarps, the sealants, and the patching materials to stabilize your roof right then and there. They stop the interior damage in its tracks before working out a permanent repair plan with you. You absolutely do not have to sit there with a bucket facing a leaking roof alone." Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. Will your roof survive the next big Texas storm, or is it time to find out for sure? We've walked through how the wild weather, the tricky historic codes, and silent killers like 150-degree attic heat can systematically tear a roof apart. The absolute worst thing you can do right now is just keep guessing about the safety of your property. Stop crossing your fingers, hoping those old shingles will hold up, and take proactive action to get a professional assessment. Protect your home, protect your investment, and give yourself that peace of mind you totally deserve. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.